The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your mind. Hey there, my name is Mr. Cătălin and you are listening to I Love Failure, the podcast where I talk to people about professional failures and what they learn from them. The I Love Failure movement started with an idea, to change people's relationship with failure. Since then, we had many sold-out events where people get on stage and talk about professional failures with a room full of people. This week I sit down with Gabriela Petrea. She is a lawyer by profession, a truth seeker, lifelong learner, teacher, humanitarian, and activist at heart.
In order to reach that goal, that objective that you mentioned, to remain balanced irrespective of what's happening, you need to be very mindful of how you feed your mind, how you feed your soul, how you feed your body, and so on.
Before we begin this week's episode, I would like to thank MySpace for hosting this podcast. If you're looking for flexible office spaces for companies of any size, MySpace is the place for you. Also, if you want to support the I Love Failure movement, you can go to ilovefailure.co/support. That's ilovefailure.co/support, where you can become a Patreon or buy cool merchandise. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hello, Gabriela. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
How are you? How are things these days?
Pretty well.
Really?
Yeah. I had a heat stroke this weekend, but I'm recovering, so all is well.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. If you can tell us a little bit more. I know that you're a lawyer, so you don't see yourself as, your job doesn't tell you who you are. I know that from the last event that we had. Mm-hmm. But just for our speakers, what exactly do you do, like professionally? I'm indeed a lawyer. I have more than 12 years of experience. I used to work for like 8 years in various law firms. I was specialized in the energy field. Mm-hmm. For the last 4 or 5 years, I work in the multinational company in the IT field, and my responsibility is at EMEA level, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I'm part of a global team. I'm negotiating contracts with various suppliers at this level, and I have also some negotiations in North America. So a pretty steady career. I mean, I can say that I enjoy what I'm doing from a professional perspective. Yes. All right. So in this roadmap of yours, did you have any ups and downs like everybody, or in the professional? Yeah, of course. Let's start with the professional. Let's start with the professional. I had, as anyone, I have a lot of ups and downs. First, it's like as I mentioned, for the first 8 years of my career, I was working in various law firms. And I can say that I actually didn't have any life. It's like I was working from almost Monday to Sunday, from morning to 3, 4, 5 a.m. the next day. That was by itself a challenge. I had a lot of things to learn during this period. It was for sure a very important phase of my life, but at some point I realized that my values are not aligned with the values of those around me, and my objectives are not aligned with the objectives of those around me. And we have background music. It's okay. It's my alarm. You can let it. I can let it. Yeah. So I realized that at some point that I needed to make a change, and the ups and downs. It was quite a big shift in my career actually, and the ups and downs was that I struggled to find a new path, because when you change your values and when you change your objectives and vision in life, it's quite difficult to find a new path. So the ups and downs was that I got fired due to some discrepancies in the values and the way I used to see things and so on.
I'm very curious, these values, because this is a common thing, like the values of people change.
It's a common thing.
When you're trying to get a job and you're like hungry, okay, fuck the values, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then eventually when you become more stable, you have more time, you start, oh, hey, what am I doing here? I don't really like this. So these always change to people. So
it's like everyone says that
I have to stop.
Please stop it. I know that it's common knowledge. Everyone says that. Okay, thank you. It's like everyone says that you need to have a vision to know very well what are your main values, and you also need to then to establish like a vision and mission based on these values, and then some strategic objectives, and then the annual objectives. Everyone is saying, all the coaches and so on. But a thing that a few people tell you or highlight is the fact that you have this plan of your life, but the circumstances in your life and what's happening to you actually trigger some changes in these plans. So I think we not only need to have this plan and these values and objective vision and so on, but we also need to learn how to adapt and to the changes that occur to our plans. So it's not important to have plans. It's also important to be open to changes and to adapt to the changes in our life.
I also think the adaptation part it's more important than it's the same importance as the goals. And
actually it's the same. And so answering to, I try really to give a meaningful answer to your question. So the ups and downs in my career was that I needed to start all over. I was not, I didn't like anymore the environment, the professional environment. I didn't enjoy the work that I was doing. So, I wanted something else. So, but after 8 years, you can imagine, after 8 years, to start all over, it's not so easy. And so I needed to take some time to reflect what exactly I wanted at this new phase in my life. So
it's good to take like 2 steps back and look at the thing and then see where you're going.
Indeed.
The starting over, it's hard. I also do it a lot. I did it at 30. I did it at 40. I keep on doing it. So
it takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage. This starting over that I was telling you, it was at my 30, and maybe when I'll reach 40, I'll go through another starting over. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of deep reflection to not lie to yourself. Unfortunately, a lot of people choose the easy way to lie to yourself and to stay in their comfort zone. So.
That's fear of failure in action.
Exactly.
Fear of trying new things. And do you have, any advice on fear of failure, on how to, just go for it when...
It's Actually,
you reflect, and then eventually you have to like do that step. So
if I usually refrain myself for giving advice, what I can, but what I can
works for you, of course.
What I can, because what works for me, for sure, I don't know how it works for others, but what I can tell you, in case there are people who can be inspired by my story, is that don't be afraid to hit rock bottom. You know, it's like we all are so scared of hitting rock bottom, of being fired, of not having money to pay the rent or to pay the loans and so on, and we are
especially women. I have to say they do not want to go one level down.
Exactly. So it's everyone is looking for safety, for security, for predictability, you know, and everyone is so scared of people who are unpredictable or scared to put themselves in unpredictable situation. Where when I was 30, as I told you, I hit rock bottom. So like I had no money, I had no job, I was struggling to find a new job. I didn't want to go back to the same. I was receiving job offers, but also in the law firms, and I told you that I wanted to change totally. So I was hitting rock bottoms because I had a lot of loans and so on. And at some point, to be honest, I put myself the question, maybe what will happen to me if I'll end up in street, you know, on the street. And, you know, a lot of people are scared to ask themselves this question. But when you have the courage to ask, to really take some time and reflect, what will happen to me if I'll end up in the street? Like the worst case scenario in your life. What will happen to you, you know? And so my story, or it's like you ask me for advice, don't be afraid to hit rock bottom, because actually the most amazing things in your life start only when you don't have anything else to lose.
Yeah, I have to come in here.
Sure.
The thing is, I don't know if it was rock bottom, but it was rock bottom. So I was in Bucharest, and I just got fired from a job, my only job. I always the only job. Yeah, and I said, okay, I'm gonna live in Vama Veche, you know, at the seaside. I moved with everything I had in one hut. The first night I lived in a tent. Then I managed to get a hut because I could still, you know, do some designs and make some money, but it was the bare minimal. So the thing was, I had absolutely nothing there. And it was the best summer of my life. Not even when I was a kid, it was like this. Because not having anything, I was open to everything. But everything. Everybody was giving me stuff. I went with the homeless people on the street. They taught me how to do that, how to do this, there was nothing I was missing. And it was very nice to see people like really giving to you and very open, like Rastaman people and all those. It's not just about getting high and so on. They are very connected. They are very
authentic.
So it was, I don't know, like a family the whole summer, and people keep coming to this family. And that feeling was, of course, because I didn't have any expectations. It was everything as you go. And the less stuff you had, the freer you were. It was unbelievable. Everybody knew that over there. But
that's right. We have this false impression that we are our things we own, or we are defined by our profession or by our position, you know, and so on. Actually, these are all lies, you know. I think this illusion comes from the fact that a lot of people actually do not know who they really are, their true essence, you know. So when you don't know who you really are at your core, you start acting on autopilot and start to make decisions based on the expectation of your family, friends, society, and so on. So you practically lie to yourself, and you'll never reach your true potential, or you'll never have a true fulfillment feeling when you act from this position of not knowing who you are. You know? and believing that
I still don't know who the fuck I am, but I'm figuring out every day. So.
Yeah, it's important for everyone, I think, to take some time to reflect and discover who they are.
I just started doing podcasting, so I don't know.
It's a good start.
Where things go with this. Yeah.
Can I tell you a story about
Sure.
this? So I was last year in January. I was at an interview with like 10 people from Aspen Institute. I was applying for a fellowship for Young Leaders program. It's a really great program. I truly recommend to all the young people to apply for this fellowship. So I received a lot of questions, both professionally and personally. But at some point, an Aspen fellow asked me a question that really impacted me. The question was the following. Like, who are you, Gabriela? Like, who are you, you know? And
sounds like a simple question.
Sounds like a simple question, yeah. And you know what my answer was?
No.
My answer was, I'm a soul.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I think she was impressed by this answer, because after that she said that I don't have other questions and thank you for your answer, you know. And the funny thing is that several months after this interview, I discovered the Bucharest Vedic Center. I discovered some Vedic lessons taught by a very experienced teacher. And the lessons were on Bhagavat Gita, as it is. And that book actually describes who we are and what is our higher scope, for those who want to find out who they are.
Bhagavat
the book is called the Bhagavat Gita, as it is. And in that book, it is mentioned that what we are in our essence, we are souls. Mm-hmm. And we are not this body. And it was funny because it was like I didn't read that book at the interview. It's like I anticipated, you know, yeah.
So you kind of changed your mind about everything, and this book validated.
Yeah, it was. I really the book indeed validated what I felt at that moment.
I see that we are very attracted to books that kind of are on our direction, and if you're looking on YouTube and you're looking, I don't know, maybe your values are in one direction, mm-hmm. you're gonna get recommendations of that, and you're only clicking on things that are, you know, validating whatever new belief you have.
Yeah.
And the very funny thing is, this is also in Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, is mm-hmm. that when we change our beliefs, we don't even know it. So we just have this new set of beliefs. We don't know that this is new. Mm-hmm. And it's just happening. There's nothing you can do. You do not know that your beliefs have changed. Like it's working.
It's I experienced myself, and I actually don't think we change. The proper expression is not that, not exactly that we change our belief. As per this book that I told you, we are, as I mentioned, we are eternal souls full of knowledge, full of spiritual knowledge. But what's happening is that we start to identify with our false ego, and we acquire false beliefs. You know, mm-hmm. false mm-hmm. belief, like I am this profession, I am these things, I am from this country, I have this nationality, I am this body, I have this age, and so on. So mm-hmm. what actually happens is, if you are lucky enough, you start to discover that the beliefs that you had from an early age, that you are taught in your family, in your society, and so on, actually does not resonate with who you really are. So it's not like a change in the belief, it's like an awakening, you know, and realize that what are your real beliefs that it was with you from the beginning, you know.
So before when you were little.
Yeah. For those who believe in reincarnation and so on.
I'm not, but I'm not very spiritual. But
I know,
of course, I respect any belief that people have. So
yeah, and I appreciate that.
There's no problem.
Yeah,
for me.
I know that we had at some point a discussion on that.
Yeah, I also made sort of a video with I'm a soul, and it's sort of a joke, but
maybe it is. Yeah, you should show me.
Yeah, but it was, I don't know, like a commercial for something I did, but who am I? I'm a soul. But it was, it's okay. It's fine with me.
Yeah,
I probably also am a soul, but I just
I
define myself a little bit
in other parameters.
And one thing that I'm studying right now is Stoicism, and I really, really love what they teach there. I have a couple of things that I'm very interested in, and I'm very curious how you see them. So the first one is Amor Fati, basically, where it means love your fate. So the thing that they did, because when you hit something, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You do the work, something's going to be bad or good, and so on. So this means basically love whatever comes. This includes, I don't know, your laptop broke with all your stuff. They went a lot farther, like your kid died, and love that thing. Or whatever it is that comes to in your path that you have absolutely no control of, you should love it, because there is no point in doing anything else but that. So it sounds a little bit extreme, but this is what I love failure also is, because the good times everybody loves them, but the bad times, it's something that you're either trying to avert, like thinking about it, and it didn't even happen, and it's ruining your thing. And when it's happening, you're wasting a lot of time
and energy, and emotions.
Of course, not to to get over it and so on. So this is one teaching that it's very interesting, Amor Fati. So
can I comment on it?
Sure, of course, that's why I brought it up.
I love philosophy. I love discussing and debating various ideas. So I appreciate that you brought this idea. Actually, it's as I mentioned, for more than 1 year, I'm studying Vedic philosophy at the Bucharest Vedic Center. I attend every week seminars on Vedic philosophy, and this Stoic idea is also reflected in the Vedic philosophy. It is not. They don't mention to love everything, but to remain detached. To have a balanced approach. To even whenever something joyful happens to you, to not exaggerate with your emotions and so on, and whenever sad or depressing happens to you, to not get swallowed by that. And so it's similar, and it's an idea that I also resonate with, and I try to have a balanced approach in my life, irrespective of the situations that occur in my life, especially those that I cannot control. Actually, this is a sign of a person who has the level of consciousness of those people who remain balanced, irrespective of what's happening in their life. It's quite high. And our life is not only full of joy. Everyone says that my goal is to find happiness, but this is ridiculous, because life cannot be, is also full of suffering.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's we at some point, I think we need to drop this idea as find happiness. It's impossible. Even if you are full of happiness, at some point you get bored, and let's think of anyway. So it's important the goal should not be to be happy, but to be balanced in life,
Moderation.
And to be balanced irrespective of what's happening in your life. It's very important.
What I really love about this is that the fact that we have a lot more bad stuff happening than the good stuff. So in a day, maybe I have one good stuff coming to me. I don't know what when I eat or what. I don't know. Maybe you meet someone. But it's a lot of bad things, a lot of things that don't go your way, people cutting you off, doing things, it's a lot of bad. So what I really like about this and the concept is if you can switch it, like really accept the things that they are, you're not going to be negative all day because this is going to be moving with you. So you're going to be, 90% negative and 10% positive all day after day after day. This like really wears on you. So if this can really be implemented, then I'm honestly trying. I don't say Amor Fati, I say I love failure. But anyway, whenever something happens, amen. Fuel for the fire, let's move on. I didn't get it nailed yet, but I think if it works, it will be great.
If I can also add to this, I think there are a lot of things that we can do in our life that can help us to be more balanced. Because we are very influenced by the food that we eat, by the music we listen, by the books, articles we read, by the people that we associate with, and by their own level of consciousness and ideas and so on. So in order to reach that goal, that objective that you mentioned, to remain balanced irrespective of what's happening, you need to be very mindful of how you feed your mind, how you feed your soul, how you feed your body, and so on.
True. Mindfulness is again one very important thing.
Yeah, and not only mindfulness, but the whole concept of well-being, which comprise physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual / social well-being. You know, so all these factors are very important.
I was talking about mindfulness about everything. So
to be mindful, of all this food, influence.
This, that, and it's very hard to. You just wake up. I practice a little bit of mindfulness meditation, and I try to do it throughout the day, like waking up, okay, this is happening, I see my things, and then okay, let it go. But it's I thought it was gonna progress a lot faster, I'm gonna be a lot more awake, but eventually
you gave up.
No, but it's you get into the thing,
the routines, and
it's I'm not always waking up during the day.
You're not present.
Yes, I am kind of in the morning, then in the afternoon whenever something bad happens, then again I'm, hey, wait, let's see how.
Let's reflect a bit and detach, right?
Yeah. But it's still an improvement from nothing. I mean, being all the time connected.
For sure. It's important to take some breaks, and it's important to have in our daily life, to include meditation, to include various sport activities are very important for our well-being.
It's easy to say, but the thing is, I call my inner, the monkey.
The monkey mind.
My monkey's fucked up. I'm telling you. I wake up in the morning, I say, look, I'm going to do all this. I have like check signs. I did run. I did
like a plan.
Like a little bit of a plan, and I'm trying to do, and eventually throughout the day, things get out of control and so on. But I'm always trying to put health on, this is the first and most important thing, man. Even if you make money, if you do whatever you're doing, if you neglect this, this is not good. So I try, consciously to
prioritize.
Exactly. The health thing is the first one. But throughout the day, I don't know, the social circumstances, okay, just a glass of wine, what the fuck, you're here. So all these kind of, take over. And I didn't find a way to, only if you wake up in that moment, hey, health, man, health. But it's very hard in social situations and stuff like that.
If you allow me a suggestion.
Sure.
I think so. Before last year, I used to go to bed like around 2 or 3 a.m. and wake up quite late, and I didn't have too much discipline. I had some days when I was meditating, some days I was lazy. So I had as you said, I let my monkey mind control me most of the time. So what changed from last year to now, when I wake up every day at around 5 a.m. And every day I practice around 2 hours of meditation, and I feel much more present in my life and much more balanced. I'm much more. I gave up alcohol. I gave up coffee. So I'm a vegetarian. I'm not eating meat since I was like 11 years old. So what I changed in my life, because you said, okay, look, I have this issue. I feel that my monkey mind controls me. So you identify the issue. Okay, when you identify an issue, how you can solve the issue? You start by doing little things. Start by implementing little changes in your life. So I started waking up at like 8, then after 2 weeks at 7:30, then at 7, then at 6:30, then at 6, then at so
small increments.
Small changes. It took several months to give up coffee. And it took So it's important when we have an objective to change our lives, that we are not pleased with what's happening with us. I think it's important to implement small changes, but actually what helped me to implement those changes is the knowledge that I gained while attending these lessons on Vedic philosophy. Because if we don't understand and acknowledge very well why we need to implement a change, we'll not be motivated, So,
totally agree.
So you in order to be motivated to really change your life, either in a small way or in a major way, you need to have. It's all about. So people, reckon. It's like people are so saying that. Who needs philosophy? No one needs philosophy. Philosophy is only for those who go to philosophy faculty and so on. It's a lot of bullshit and so on. But actually, and I'm not a philosophy graduate, actually I realized quite late in my life, but it's better later than never, philosophy is the essence of life. I think everyone, but of course not everyone can attend the philosophy faculty and so on, but there are plenty of other sources. So books. I think in order for us to be able to have a healthy lifestyle and implement changes, we need to have a very good philosophy of life.
True. Could not agree more. So even if the Stoics, I always read Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, everybody, and the thing is, this was their thing. They said, look, I'm doing exercise, like physical exercise, but philosophy is the one that I cannot miss in a day, because it's the one that guides you. It's something that you have to have a good philosophy of life. I also think, and I think I have one right now. It's still
work in progress.
Work in progress, but. Of course, some Stoicism, some from my life experience that I think that makes sense. But the thing with the monkey in general, it's and when I cannot control it, it's with addiction, of course. With addiction, which is sugar and bread and stuff like that. So this is my only, because I also gave up coffee. Hard drugs, small drugs, whatever drugs.
I'm very good. Congratulations.
Except weed, that's not a drug. That's not. But no problems there. Like cigarettes, very clear. Okay, this is bad for me. Blah blah blah. But with sugar and with the other problems, the starch and sugar. This is a whole different game. I mean, it's in everything. It's everywhere.
Because it's a drug. Because it's a drug.
So it's like calling me all the time, and just take
we can further discuss after this. It's like I stopped eating sugar also from 1 year ago.
Yeah? Whoa.
Yeah.
You have 1 year sugar-free.
Yeah, I'm sugar-free from 1 year, and I can tell you
That's-
that it really changed my life for better, because sugar does not impact your body only from an aesthetic point of view, but also affects your mind
Of
and
course,
so on.
yeah.
So
You
yeah,
have
it's,
short burst of energy,
Yeah.
then you're low and you're
yeah,
high
yeah.
and
You
you're
can.
low.
My suggestion would be also to start step by step. You can, for example, try to eat more fruits and or honey. And anyway,
I've done the banana thing.
It's an entire discussion, separate discussion on that.
Sure,
But it's important to have this objective to be sugar free.
I'm fighting with it all the time. One time I realized I could do it for 3 months. I was very thin after that. Everything was okay. Then eventually,
it's important to not get disappointed.
Of course,
We also have this back and forth. But it's important to keep trying. And
yes, of course, I learned from what's happening. Like last time when I quit sugar, just this is the one last thing. It was for 3 months, and then I went to Marriott. It was a reception, free food, blah 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 blah. And I really remember how he said, okay, it's free. Why not take one cookie?
Yeah,
and
one cookie. And you ended up eating.
But it was such a stupid reason because it's free. What the fuck? I tried to give up this thing for 3 months, and then you're telling me it's free, and I ate a cookie. And then after that, your level, your barrier is down.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it. You ate a cookie. Now you can
drink. I know the feeling. It's important to not get disappointed by the failure and to keep trying.
Of course. Okay. We got off the subject here a little bit. Okay, I would like also to mention another thing from the Stoic philosophy because it's my
bring
thing.
Bring it on. I love philosophy, I told you.
And the thing is, the first one was Amor Fati, which is great. The second one is Memento Mori, which is unbelievable. I use it all the time. I think about that daily. And I don't know, how do you think of it? I mean, when I think about that I'm gonna die, everything and everyone is gonna die, and nothing like really is gonna be after us. Of course, you believe in afterlife, but I don't.
Okay.
So I think this is it. I don't know. You look back and you see nothing, nobody. Everything is gonna be buried throughout the time, so it doesn't really matter. I mean. It helps me in situations where I think I make more of them than they really are and stuff like that. So it helps a lot with my.
So what's actually the ideas that you resonate with, or
thinking about that I'm gonna die helps me during the day to be happier.
So be mindful that at some point.
But confronting myself with that on a daily basis, even. I don't know. One time I really planned I'm trying to do a business in this field, and I called the guys and I talked about if I'm gonna die, what I'm gonna pay and stuff like that, and I felt very good throughout the whole day because I somehow confronted with it a little bit more than I did before, and it was not a big deal. I felt very good being, and then I try to remind myself whenever something is very. I don't know, don't get on stage where you have stage fright or whatever. It helps me all the time. These people are not going to remember. Even if they remember, they're going to die.
They're going to die, yeah.
So nobody's going to, do...
Okay, I'll comment on this.
Sure, I'm sure.
So there... irrespective of, I'll also discuss on my philosophy on dying and so on, but strictly to your point, I think it's very important to be mindful and to have these thoughts every day, because a lot of people, we tend to live our lives in ignorance or in passion. It's as per Vedic philosophy, we can choose to live our life in ignorant mode, in passion mode, or in the goodness mode. And most of the people we don't want to think of death. We think of ourselves that, wow, if you ask someone, it's like, I think I will live like 100 years and so on, you know. There are a lot of people who postpone having like a family or investing in something or in following their hobby and passion, because even if they're in their 40s or 50s, you know, because they think, oh, I'll have plenty of time, you know, because they don't want to acknowledge the idea that, okay, dude, tomorrow you can die, you know.
You can die anytime,
Would you have the similar mindset? So yeah, I totally agree with you, and I understand why you resonated with this. And I remember, you know, even I think Steve Jobs at some point in an interview, he mentioned that try to reflect and think, ask yourself this question: if I know that I'm gonna die in several days, would I have the same options? I would choose the same thing to do in this day. And if the answer is no for several consecutive days, I think you should change, definitely. So when I read this several years ago, this interview of Steve Jobs, really impacted me, you know. And I started, after reading this interview, I started to ask myself these questions quite often, you know. So I totally agree with you. And I think we should not be afraid of asking this question more often, even if every day. Like, if you would know that you're gonna die tomorrow, would you spend your day, or would you do the same actions or inactions?
Yeah. But the Stoics take it so much further.
So much
These
further.
guys are like really crazy. Like, I don't know which one. He said, every day I think of my kid that he could die today. Mm-hmm. He always confronted himself with his kid's death. It could be today, it could be tomorrow. Again, then people died like that. I mean, and with his mortality, his kid, everybody. The thing was, he said, the only time I cried when somebody died was when I was not prepared. It was a friend of his that he was a lot younger than him, and didn't expect it, and he got a lot of reaction from him. And after that, he said, "Look, I wasn't prepared for this. I mean, but after that, he said, I'm prepared for everything. So everybody can die." Anytime, anywhere. So
yeah, you know, I think the reason why, for what I can say is that from my own experience, for many years I was afraid of dying, and I have this fear, very big fear, you know.
Dying alone.
No, irrespective. You anyhow die.
Really matter,
you anyhow die alone.
If it's somebody near you.
Yeah, so that doesn't matter. No, I had this fear of dying, you know, and then again, I discovered, as I said, Vedic philosophy, and my vision on life and and this fear of death and so on expanded, and I realized that, and I truly feel that indeed we have several lives, not only one life, but it's our time is very precious. And I think the reason why many people are afraid of dying is because deep down they feel that they are living meaningless life, and they are not living according to their true self. So I think this is what scares us, you know, because deep down I think we some kind feel that we are like wasting on time on things that don't really matter, you know.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, but if
everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Yeah, exactly. But how I managed to get rid of this fear of dying is when you start to realize who you are and what's your goal, and you start to realize the way to have a meaningful life and not to feel that you are wasting your life, then this fear disappears. So
yeah, you should live. And the way Stoics did it at the funerals and so on, it was a celebration. You know, everything's okay. You know, that's it. There's absolutely no problem. You don't have to mourn. I mean, of course, you can internalize things, but if you remember how that guy lived and you lived your life, you should have absolutely no regret at the end.
I totally agree. I
waste so much. I waste so much fucking time.
The idea is to try to, for all of us, to be mindful of this, of the value of the time that we have.
How much time I give to sitcoms and 2.5 Men, Seinfeld, stuff like that.
I don't have a television for 8 years, and whenever I'm asking what's your TV series and so on, I was like, I don't watch anything like that, and so I don't watch television. I don't have a TV. I very rarely. The only films that I see is like during the foreign film festivals. This is the only times that I allocate. So I allocate like maximum 10 hours per year for movies.
That's a great goal.
Yeah, you know why? Because I think like this, and I hope that those people in the movie industry will not hate me, but my philosophy is that the people, the reason why we have this attraction to TV series, and it's like, again, because we don't know who we are and what is our goal, and we prefer to watch others living their lives instead of living our own life. And when you wake up, you stop wasting your time.
Yeah.
Maybe it sounded too harsh, but
it's something that I aspire to. So you have two things that I'm jealous of: the one with the movies and with the sugar. This is something that I'm also thriving for. And the biggest change in my life when I moved from Timișoara and I threw out all my clothes and everything, I give up movies for quite a time.
And how did you feel?
It was very weird. When I came home, I didn't start anything, no device, no nothing, and I just sitting there, and I realized what my life is about, and it sucked. So I had to do something.
You see?
I had to get in motion, and I remember I took I don't know. I said where I'm gonna go, and I put my finger. It was Brasov. I don't know how I got there. I said, "Fuck it, that's the plan." And because when the other days when I came home, I put like a sitcom or something like that, and I was so comfortable in that thing. You know, my mind was there.
In that illusion.
Of course, it was an illusion. And after I stopped it and I came home, I said, "Oh, whoa, what the fuck am I doing?" You know. Everybody's busy. Are you coming out? No. It didn't work for me. My job didn't work. What I was doing didn't work. Timișoara didn't work for me anymore. I was 30, almost 30 at the time. And then I realized that, and I said, no, I have to do something. And I kept it for a long time. But then eventually, when I kept on moving, the only thing familiar were sitcoms and stuff like that let me just watch this because I keep on
just
changing
like an
places.
Addiction.
I keep on changing places, and I said, look, this is
my comfort.
It's something that I related to. But it's a big problem. This and sugar for me are
it's not only for you, you know. Unfortunately, this is the world we are living in, and it takes a lot of you need to go through a lot of painful situation to hit a lot of rock bottom because before me hitting the rock bottom in my life, both personally and professionally, I was doing the same. I was eating a lot of sugar. I was wasting my time on television and TV series and so on. So I was actually lying to myself. So you can turn the failure, this rock bottom in your life, in something very meaningful. So don't hate. I started loving the failures and the rock bottoms because they're a chance. For anyone to wake up and really start living their life.
So true. And also very hard is to accept the world as it is. This is something that I'm also struggling, and everybody's struggling
to accept the world as it is.
As it is, right? So this is what it is. We keep on trying to change this and that and that, and
to change the things in your environment.
Yes. But the thing is, even in business, and this is, you don't listen to everybody. You try to tell them what to do. You try to impose your position. You don't get the feedback from the world around you. And it's very hard because you keep on jumping to conclusions. Oh, that guy's stupid. That's homeless because he drank or whatever, and blah 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 blah.
And you try to start judging and so on.
Judging or wherever you go.
And
I stopped believing in free will for a long time now, and when I stopped, I know that people couldn't have done differently than what they've done. This is one thing that things change for me. I looked at homeless people in a different way. Look, this guy is here because there's nothing that he could have done, and you're more kind to people because you see there's a lot of, it's not just that moment, it's a lot behind it, like his whole life, his whole
it's a whole background.
It's a whole background that got to be there, that he had no nothing that he could. If you were changing places with him, you would have been him, and this is it. That's it. And this kind of attitude really helped me accept a little bit more,
of what's happening around you.
Yeah, because I was keep on judging everybody's developers are crazy.
The developers are crazy in judging, right?
Oh my God. I said one day I said with a guy, and there were two girls, we just met, we were in Brasov at that time. He was we just met. He was auto-completing their sentences. Because you're like that, and because you do that. I was, whoa, this is unbelievable. How?
Yeah. I'll
sure, please do.
I really liked all the ideas that you brought. So I really expected of something totally different, So I really,
I'm experimenting.
I really enjoy all the ideas and questions and the topics that you brought to the table. Because all these ideas and thoughts I also had. So. It's and I also like to share from my experience. So like for many years I had also the same judgmental view. I was judging others for the ways they looked, for the choices they had in their profession, for the fact that they were drinking or eating meat, or for their lifestyle, for the ways they dressed, and so on and so on. So I was extremely judgmental myself. And what I of course I wanted to change. I wanted to be the savior. For many years I was irritating a lot of people, trying to convince them to give up meat or give up.
And
did I
ask anything?
Yeah. So I was a really awful person, very judgmental and trying to change everyone around me. But a very extremely important lesson that I learned in this life, and a lesson that brought me a lot of peace, was that I realized that the reason why I was so judgmental was because I was not accepting myself. I was not accepting my flaws. So I had a very toxic relationship with myself, actually. So people who have a toxic relationship with themselves, and they don't accept, first of all, they don't acknowledge their own demons, and consider themselves to be like angels, like very good-hearted people, and all the others are bad people, And so when you don't face your demons, when you don't face your shadow, your own shadow, what's happening? It's the destiny brings in your life people who reflect the same shadow, the same demons that you have, and you don't want to accept them, So you project this. So when you start to, face your own demons and shadows and downsides and so on, and you make peace with those demons, you invite those,
you accept yourself.
You invite those demons at the table, It's like you don't hate them anymore. It's like you stop hating yourself. Then you stop hating others, and you stop accepting others, and you stop trying to change others. Because actually, if someone does not want to be helped or changed, you can't do anything.
course.
And it's a big waste of time and energy.
And you just annoy people.
And you just annoy people. So this was a very important lesson for me to stop being judgmental. First of all, with myself.
Yeah,
it's so difficult, and we need to understand why we are like this, because we were judged when we were little, when we were in the school and so on. So we start doing the same, and it's very, very difficult to unlearn the toxic things that you learn.
Very difficult.
It's very difficult, but not impossible. And
but like a cartoon can fuck you up for the whole rest of your life, like a cartoon, and then you do some things when you're older, and you go back and say, well, how when this principle, like this belief came into, and you go back and you see a cartoon or something happened, and you waste so much time,
we are wasting a lot of time because we don't take this time to reflect and to think, are our beliefs really our beliefs, or we are just borrowed or imposed, or these beliefs have been imposed on us by our parents or society and so on.
When you're a kid, you don't have sophisticated arguments. Everybody's telling you, like the teacher, hey, do this,
Sure, but
they're all authority figures.
No, and I totally agree with you. But when we start growing up and become adults, we don't have any excuses anymore.
Well, the thing is, you grow up with the mind that was formed by all these people and all these events. It's not like you're gonna wake up, I don't know, at 18 or whenever you think we have consciousness.
True.
And say, look, because you don't know there's something wrong, because you whatever.
Sure, I agree with you. But when you have some painful situation in your life, you start to think. And speaking about failures, right? All the failures in our life are great opportunities to connect with that inner child, and to try to teach him some things that are more aligned to who you are than what you've been told.
Yeah. So I think we start off very good when experiment, fall, get up. Remember when you're a kid, no problem. This is the way you learn. Very easy, very clear.
Yeah.
Until people start, hey, that's not okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And you start to have this fear of failing. It's so intense that you cannot do anything anymore. When you're old, very old, you're very old. Like, you're blocked. So getting back to that kid is very, very hard because everything hard, it's a lot of time and a lot of people.
It's very hard to get to that inner child, but it's essential. I'd like to tell you very shortly about an article that I read on LinkedIn, like 2 or 3 years ago, that really impressed me. It was a woman. She was like a famous entrepreneur, and she shared some views, some things that she thinks that help her to become such a famous and successful entrepreneur. And on the one thing that she mentioned is that when she was little and she came from school, she and her sister they were starting bragging to their parents about their mark, that very good mark they received at school, and that their father, thinking that this is the way they will satisfy their parents, and that their parents were waiting for those very good mark, like all the parents in this world are waiting for good marks, But she had an amazing father, very wise person, and she looked at her and she said, okay, I understand that you received another good mark and so on, but what I want from you to tell me every day at dinner is to tell me at what did you fail.
No, good.
And she every day, at the dinner, from that moment, she was telling to her father, and she was encouraged by her father. So the father created a safe space for her to share the experience and also encourage her to fail.
Of course.
So she said that discussion with her father when she was young, it was like totally changed her mind and perspective. And now she also has kids, and she's educating the same way, encouraging her kids to share with her, what did you felt, what was your failure today. So imagine, Catalina, like if all the parents in this world, from tomorrow start creating a safe space for their children, irrespective of the children's age, and encourage them, don't tell me about your marks and so on. Tell me what was your mistake and what did you learn from that mistake? What was your failure? And I think we'll have much healthy adults if we implement just this small change.
Of course, but this is not small. This is a big change.
Small in brackets.
Yes.
But I was impressed. I was totally impressed, and she's a really successful businesswoman, and she's very grateful for the education that she received.
That's a great education, by the way. I mean, because what's happening with us and the kids, whenever you see your parents getting upset or angry or whatever, you just go to the other guys and talk about it, and you're gonna have really bad influence. And you should be open, like accepting whatever's happening, and he's gonna be open to you and always tell you what's happening. There's no problem, but you shut down that door. That's it.
It's we in all our relationship, irrespective if they are like parents, child, or teacher, child, or children, or friends, or love partners, and so on. It's like we don't create that space of failure, and without that space of failure, you can't connect. You actually can't connect when you always feel like criticized for even the small thing, like, for example, I don't know, it's like you break a table, with something, you put something on the table, and people are so crazy with finding faults in others,
it's hard.
And they don't realize that if we don't but in order to start creating this safe space for others to make a mistake, it's important to start with us. So to start with us allowing to make mistakes. You can't be compassionate, you can't be tolerant with others if you don't accept your flaws, don't accept your mistakes, and you are not tolerant with yourself. And I'm not saying this from the perspective of enabling you to remain in your comfort. I'm not referring to those type of enablements. I'm referring to whenever, for example, you said that you had this objective of cutting sugar, and that then you're a bit disappointed that you go back. It's like, just be gentle with yourself, and start over. So I think it's important for us to create safe space for us to make failures, and to allow ourselves to make failures, and to learn from those failures, irrespective if they are professional or personal failures. So
so important. So this is what I Love Failure is about. I mean, changing the relationship with failure in ourselves and in others, and starting a revolution here.
It's not like I really, really appreciate your initiative, and I'm not saying that because you invited me in a previous event or you invited me today. I'm very honest when I'm telling you that what you're doing is very important. It's very important because you inspire at least people to think of the idea of failure, and it's a great space, and really I think more people should be open to this, and it's really, you have all my admiration for what you started. And
thanks. It's also the community, the people just responded to this. It was just an idea, and then I see people responding on every level.
So and I think I am sure for sure you can you'll see that also in the future more and more people will be open to this concept, you know.
Okay, so just to close this, I know that you have you talked about the book, but I cannot remember the name of the book. If you can.
Yeah, sure. So it's and thank you for this question, because it's a really important book that changed my life completely from all the perspectives. It's called Bhagavat Gita as it is. It's a very ancient book. Srila Prabhupada made comments. So every verse in the book is commented by Srila Prabhupada. And I found out about this book while attending the Vedic lectures on the Bucharest Vedic Center. By the way, everyone can see these lectures, these philosophy lectures on this book. They are all registered online. So we can go to Facebook, and for those interested in philosophy, like you are, it's an amazing opportunity to find answer to questions like who you are, because you said that it's a work in progress. To questions like why we are here, what is our higher scope. To various ways in which we can choose to live our life in goodness, ignorance, or passion, and many other questions. So I really think that everyone in this world at some point should ask himself or herself this question. And I truly recommend this book because it gives you the proper answer to this. And for those who want to study this book in more detail, my suggestion is to go to the page on Facebook of Bucharest Vedic Center, and there are plenty of lessons. So everything is free of charge. So just take advantage of authentic knowledge, because we are surrounded by books. We are surrounded by so-called knowledge that has no actually relevance in our life. And when we have the chance to gain some authentic knowledge, we just ignore it, you know.
Sure. So now it's here. Whoever's listening and wants to do it,
for sure.
I'm definitely gonna, because I like to read. I read
that
even
will
the
be
Bible.
Great. And I'm looking forward to your views on the book.
Okay, sure. Okay, thanks very much for coming.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And
You're welcome. Until next time, bye.
Thank you. Bye.